Okay, we've got our legal expert, Broken System, Broken Trust today with his sidekick, Wolverine Transparency, call him Wolvie, who thinks he's a paralegal. And we're going to cover jurisdiction again and see if we can get these doofuses to comprehend what's going on. So stay tuned. I think you're going to really enjoy this. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
So, Mr. Galt, can we discuss jurisdiction just real quick? I have a few basic, simple, logical questions I want to ask you about jurisdiction. Now, crime that I'm presumed innocent of. Why did I do 6 days in jail when they don't even have, when they can't even produce factual evidence of jurisdiction?
Well, that's because you're confused. You're trying to confuse apples with oranges. Factual evidence of jurisdiction in a court of law, not a military court, but a court of law, is the easiest thing to produce and has been produced in your case. Now, here, Josh, I cut out all this. There was a lot of BS in this. But Josh says he's going to ask logical questions, and then he takes the illogical step of presenting the military code to me as an example, which is illogical because it doesn't apply. It's like comparing apples to oranges to a regular court of law and a military court. So keep that in mind.
Well, here is what you said. Here's your exact claim right here. So as the judge told you, he doesn't have to prove anything to you, and that includes factual evidence of jurisdiction. If you think he lacks jurisdiction, it's up to you to prove it to him. The prosecutor has already presented prima facie evidence, jurisdiction, and the cop's testimony will be first-hand evidence to support the prosecutor's case at trial.
Now, how is that hard to comprehend? How hard is that?
Isn't that different? Mr. Carroll said that the judge said that the factual evidence jurisdiction was on the ticket. So which one is it? Is it the ticket? Is it the jail cell?
It's both.
It's both.
See here
No.
again. No, you're confusing. There's all kinds of jurisdiction, dude. There's jurisdiction in court, and there's jurisdiction of law enforcement, the executive branch. The judicial branch has jurisdiction, and the executive branch has jurisdiction. So
now
yeah,
it's two separate. So now it's two separate wings.
There's three types of jurisdiction here, because we have three branches of government. There's legislative jurisdiction, there's judicial jurisdiction, and there is executive branch jurisdiction. So it's the jurisdiction was given by the state legislature, Michigan state legislature, they wrote the laws and said to whom they apply and how they're to be enforced. So just let me finish it all. So what they did is then they said, okay, we're going to create some courts, and we're going to give these courts certain jurisdiction to hear certain kind of cases, from murder cases to family cases to divorce cases to traffic cases. And we're going to give each one of these courts the jurisdiction to hear disputes under those laws, the traffic laws, for instance, in your case. Okay, so they also said we are giving jurisdiction to the executive branch, i.e. police, law enforcement. We are giving them jurisdiction to enforce these laws that we are passing. And that's the three separate jurisdictions.
Hold up. Can I speak for a second, if you don't mind? I agree. He is articulating them pretty well. Fiction is on the ticket.
No, okay. Well, okay, and it is.
All right. Nowhere on that ticket does it say anything about jurisdiction.
That's because you don't know. That's because you don't know what constitutes jurisdiction in a judge's eye. And that is something these soft sits and these pseudo lawyers or these so-called paralegals try to say. Well, I looked at the traffic ticket. The judge tells me evidence of jurisdiction is on the traffic ticket, and I look at it and there's no such word as jurisdiction there. Well, here's what a judge looks at. Listen to me carefully, Broken System and Wolverine. Here's what a judge looks at. He sees a traffic ticket and he says, okay, let's see. This traffic ticket was issued at this address. Okay, that's in my geographic area. That's in my territory. I have territorial jurisdiction. Let's see, and this Joe here, this Josh Lanto, was stopped here at this address, and he's within my jurisdiction, so I have personal jurisdiction over the matter, and it's a traffic ticket, and I'm a traffic ticket judge, and I have subject matter jurisdiction. So that's what a judge sees when he looks at a charging instrument. He can tell whether or not he has jurisdiction, and that is prima facie evidence of jurisdiction. It establishes a rebuttable presumption that if you think the court lacks jurisdiction, then you can put together your motion and say, here are the reasons why this court lacks jurisdiction. Now that's how it works. That's why it doesn't say jurisdiction on the ticket, is because the judge and most legal professionals know what constitutes and establishes prima facie evidence of jurisdiction. Let's continue with these people.
Colby, just give me a second. Mr. Galt, here, look at what's coming up on your screen here, Mr. Galt. I want you to recognize this and tell me, this says right here, as far as the military court, do you see where down towards the bottom, I'm going to read that last paragraph. It says in parentheses.
No, read the second paragraph. That's it. Read the second paragraph.
Jurisdiction is the power of a court to try and determine a case and to render a valid judgment. Okay,
period,
so we agree.
Full stop. Period. Full stop.
So we agree
that's a jurisdiction of a court right there.
Okay, it's 600.705. Limited personal jurisdiction over individuals on begin. And according to that judge told you 3 times it's on the ticket.
But everything I've ever read on jurisdiction says that it must be proven in a military court, in a state court, and in an international court or a federal court. Jurisdiction must be proven.
Who does it have to be proven to? Silence.
Oh my God! Now you're backtracking again.
I'm asking you a question. You said jurisdiction has to be proven. Yes, case law says that. You're absolutely correct. Who does it have to be proven to? Silence.
In 705, it says it right in here. The existence of any of the following relationship between an individual and his agent, and it shall be constituted on significant basis of jurisdiction. You know, the more I get into it, all my training's coming back to me.
So are you through? You through with me here, because you're 705. 705 is what is there to establish minimum contacts of somebody who lives out of state and maybe has received a complaint, and they say, hey, I don't even live in your fucking state. Your laws don't apply. This guy's spouting off. Claims to be a degreed paralegal. And this is what he keeps harping at, is this 600.705. Limited personal jurisdiction over individuals. The word that should have stood out to him was limited. So let's go through this. It's existence of any of the following relationships between an individual or his agent and the state shall constitute a sufficient basis of jurisdiction to enable a court of record of this state to exercise limited personal jurisdiction over the individual, and to enable the court to render personal judgments against the individual or his representative arising out of an act which creates any of the following relationships. Like I tried to tell this doofus, that this portion right here, this limited jurisdiction they're talking about, is for special appearance. This is for people who have to the state has to establish minimum contacts for them to be brought into court in this state if they are out of state. So all of these things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, are the things that would constitute somebody or a corporation or a business to having minimal contacts within the state to fall under their jurisdiction. Now, what this self-proclaimed degreed paralegal should have looked at was 600.701, general personal jurisdiction over individuals. This is a much wider scope, and it lists the things that are necessary for you to be under the court's jurisdiction, and it's very simple. Number 1, presence in the state at the time when process was served. Guess what? Josh was in the state when he was served with a traffic ticket. domiciled in the state at the time when the process is served? Well, he lives there. And the last one, that doesn't relative. And actually, even 2 is unnecessary. All that's necessary is number 1, and there you have it. So I don't know, this degreed paralegal should get his money back, because either they didn't teach him well or he didn't comprehend well. So I guess his brain isn't really firing the way he thinks it is. Apply to me.
Hey, Mr. Galt, before I let you go, hold on. Let me play the clip from my court, and you tell me. I just have one question for you about this video. Can you watch this one video? Let's see, how long is this? It's 1 minute, 11 seconds. Can we watch this video real quick? And I have a question for you, okay?
Go for it.
Okay, here's the video.
It's not the
Well, the first thing I
prosecutor.
want.
You want a trial today? You want a trial today?
Well, I mean, I'd even be willing to, sign a guilty plea today if the court can just produce the factual evidence of jurisdiction. It should be in my file somewhere. I was asking for the same thing up in the Clarkston courthouse, and they sent me to the Oakland County Jail.
Mr. Lanto, I'm not going to produce anything. I don't have to. I'm the judge. And as far as I know, the prosecutor can only produce what he wants to produce to convict.
Boom.
So we're not doing that. Your attorney's asked for 30 days. Do you want the 30 days, or do you want to go to trial today?
Well, let's see what the discovery evidence has to say. But first, if they could, very first thing out of there, they could send the factual evidence of jurisdiction. That would be great. It should be a 1-page document. If the prosecutor filed this, fantastic.
Mr. Lanto, you're talking crazy.
Yep, you are.
Court dates I have where I brought up factual evidence of jurisdiction, not once have I been told I'm talking crazy. Not one time.
You got in front of a real judge that don't mind saying it like it is. Weak to put up with your bullshit as long as they have. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Galt, I'm going to drop you down. Thanks for being a good sport as always. And sorry if I still haven't been convinced. I know you've gone to every length you can to try to explain it and break it down for me. And I'm just a dummy, and I won't ever get it. You know what I mean?
Yes, we all know what you mean.
Just a dummy, and I won't ever get it. You know what I mean?
Yes, we all know what you mean, Josh. The courts know what you mean. Judges know what you mean. Prosecutors know what you mean. I know what you mean. Everybody that's ever viewed your videos know what you mean. You're just too dumb to get it, using your words.